And may I just say that obviously we've seen some tremendous action here today on Georgia Championship Wrestling. Interestingly enough, Eddie Mansfield had an emergency and couldn't make his match. And I'm not so sure, well, I certainly don't want to doubt the possible veracity of the statement of Mansfield that he couldn't make the match, but it seemed awfully convenient, Bob.
Seemed very convenient and awfully fishy, if you'll excuse me. But, you know, something happened here today, Gordon, that I never thought I'd see happen, and nobody expected it, and that was Wrestling 2 having his mask taken off. The man is a legend in his own time, and he's kept that mask longer than any other human being that's ever been a professional wrestler. But the superstar is out here, and he's yelling about he's destroyed the morale by taking the man's mask off. For my money, he's just made the man mad, and when they get to it, brother, when two big men like this in the world of professional wrestling get together, somebody usually gets hurt, and for my money, somebody will. The Austin Idol who's telling everybody how lovely he is, to me, just like I feel, just like you do, something was a little fishy there about the Mansfield era. And you've also got a man coming into this area, Ken Patera, a man who went to the Olympics, who represented this country and against nations all over the world in powerlifting. We've got a man right here that's just set a record. A bench press record, a man that's got as much power as anybody in pro wrestling today, Tony Atlas. So you've got big names coming in here. A man like Bruiser Brody, a man that stands 6'7".
Well, of course, one thing, of course, the 1980 season gets underway January 13th at the Omni, and of course, you're planning on being there.
I wouldn't miss it for the world because they're going to pit these two strong men, Tony Atlas and Ken Patera, together. The Sheik will be here, the man that throws the fire, who's injured so many.
And the Dream.
Oh, the American Dream is back on the scene in 1980. They're going to start it all on the 13th. So much is happening at the Omni, you really can't describe it all. And one thing for me, it's good for me to be back home, and I'm going over to Carroll tonight to get the year started off right, brother, and we're going to finish off and settle a lot of things starting on the 13th at the Omni right here in Atlanta.
And our time is just about gone here on Georgia Championship Wrestling for this week. We certainly hope you'll join us again next week. Till then, Gordon Soley saying so long. 17, but man, Austin Idol currently holds that title.
That's right. And you know, I am definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the nucleus, the kingpin of professional wrestling. I am the wrestling. What the sun is to all the planets. The sun revolves. All the planets revolve around the sun. The sun is the nucleus, and I am the nucleus of professional wrestling, and I will dictate everything as far as wrestling goes in the state of Georgia. I'm the greatest all-around athlete of all time. I've got women chasing me. I cannot go into a public place. It doesn't make any difference if it's a restaurant. It makes no difference if it's a movie theater. It makes no difference where I go. Everybody is chasing Austin Idol. They want Austin Idol. They want to touch Austin Idol. They want Austin Idol's autographs. The men are coming up to me and saying, Austin Idol, what kind of a workout routine do you have? How many units of vitamin E do you take? How many milligrams of vitamin C do you take? How many miles a day do you run? How many bench presses do you do? How many sit-ups do you do? What do you do for this? What do you do for that? Where do you get your boots made? Where do you get your robes made? What kind of fine wines do you drink? What kind of fancy restaurants do you go to? And what is it about you that makes women go completely insane as soon as they look at the pearly white teeth and the beautiful face and the body that is etched and sculptured like a Michelangelo, a Leonardo da Vinci, and a Picasso, all wrapped into one? Well, the answer is simple, darling. When they made the idol, they threw the mold away. I'm the greatest of all time. And when it comes to, you know, this Marietta, Marietta is just another town that the people go completely nuts and insane over Austin Idol.
Glenn Owen.
Up against Austin Idol, the man who calls himself the Universal Heartthrob. He's something else. That's all I'm going to say about that. Idol moves out, gets his forearm, but it was Owens firing back very quickly. By the way, next week here on Georgia Championship Wrestling, we'll be seeing young Mike Graham in action. And he is an outstanding young athlete, and we'll be having him here on Georgia Championship Wrestling next week. Also, another man who is an outstanding competitor. In fact, we're going to hear from him later on in the day, Kevin Sullivan. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Hip toss by Idol. Takes Owens back to the canvas. Owens back on his feet again. Once again, collar and elbow, and a high hip toss by Idol. And Owens getting to feel that in the lower lumbar region. And it was Owens retaliating in kind. And it's Idol complaining about pulling his trunks. I certainly didn't see it. Once again. And there you see Idol, thrust to the throat of Len Owens. The referee warning Idol. Idol again, a short chopping blow to the forehead. Idol has him up. Full slam to the canvas. Len Owens comes out before that count of 3. Idol breaks up another full body slam. Austin Idol crashes down into the side of the chest. Came out of it before the count of 3. Idol now lashing out with right hands. Puts Owens back to the canvas. Owens came up a little slowly now. Good duck under by Owens. Owens catches him with a hard right hand, another hard right hand. Idol could be in trouble here. Owens comes off, catches him again. And it is Austin Idol in trouble now as Len Owens brings him up. A full slam, Len Owens beginning to get it all together now. In for a lateral. No, sir. Powered out before the count of 3. Len Owens suddenly fired up. Idol brought him down on that knee. Cinches down with that figure 4, as he calls it the Las Vegas lock. It is the figure 4, and Austin Idol utilizing that figure 4 very, very effectively from a very, very determined Len Owens, but Austin Idol nonetheless emerges victorious in this conflict.
Brother. Can you better get...
Wait just a second. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. A severe amount of punishment. Well, there you saw it, and of course that was the situation of Ole Anderson initiating that attack in the interview area. And so it is Ole Anderson who has been suspended. And we'll be back with Tony Atlas and more action right after we pause for these words. It perpetrated itself into a match later on in the day, and of course that created even more problems, Tony.
Well, Ole Anderson, he's the kind of person, he don't respect anything. Don't have no respect for his family. Anytime a man turn on his own brother, you know he ain't much respect to him. Ole Anderson seemed like he just wanted to just stop me, say I don't have no business trying for the world's title. He said I ain't got no business in professional wrestling. I ain't got no business in the ring. My can don't even belong in professional wrestling. I don't know what Ole Anderson is talking about when he get out there talking about my can. As far as I'm concerned, I'm just a wrestler just like everybody else out trying to make a living and support myself and do my best in that ring. But if Ole Anderson, anytime he want to fight, I fight him. If he want to wrestle, then I wrestle him. I don't care what he have to do. I do it against him as long as the man meet me head up. If Ole Anderson want to go out and because Ole Anderson, I'm going to tell you, I had gotten fed up with people getting in my way because I worked hard trying to go somewhere. People going to get in my way, talk about whooping me, putting me out of wrestling, going to do this and that to me. Ole Anderson, anytime you think you can do something else to me, you come on in the ring. And, brother, it ain't going to be like last time because I'm going to just go ahead and take you into the street. Now, I know you got more wrestling experience than I got, but Ole Anderson, I got more fighting ability than you got. And I got more ability to knock you out in this little finger than you got in your whole body. So, Ole Anderson, if you want to take it to the street, brother, you bring it on because I'll show you some stuff you can't learn in professional wrestling.
Well, obviously, of course, this sort of situation will not happen here on television because Ole Anderson is now indefinitely suspended. As you saw earlier, it was Ole Anderson who began the situation by coming out here and openly slapping Tony Atlas during this interview area, in this interview area. Well, later on, of course, a challenge was met.
Ole Anderson and Tony Atlas did clash in the ring on television, and that resulted in both of theirs being suspended. Let's take a look at the closing moments of that match.
Punishment to the head, smashed into that turnbuckle. Tony Atlas powers him into that turnbuckle again, and Ole Anderson just barely hanging on at this point. Now Anderson fires to the side of the jaw of Tony Atlas, drives Atlas back to the canvas. Anderson back on top of him again. And there's a lot of fight left in both of these men, no question about that. Into those ropes, the referee. Finally, Anderson back inside. Anderson, a short chopping right hand. Atlas retaliates. Atlas catches him again. And Anderson appears to have been lacerated. It is Tony Atlas now pressing every advantage possible. Tony Atlas pounding away with that right hand, continues to pound away with that right hand. Barely broke it before the count of 4, and it's Ole Anderson back after him. And you talk about a pair of pit bulls battling here, we've got it. Ole Anderson and Tony Atlas. And all of the enmity, all of the bitter feelings between these two erupting now in the square circle. Tony Atlas and Ole Anderson pounding away. As I say, of course, they've thrown out the rule book. They're after it for all they're worth. A fair sixer if I've ever seen one. And it is Anderson on the canvas now. Atlas catches him again. And Anderson again battered back to the canvas. Tony Atlas trying to press that advantage now. And it is Atlas caught in the midsection. Anderson driving him through the ropes, and Atlas outside the ring. And now both of them outside the ring. And they're battling it out here now. Atlas and Anderson both slugging it out. And both men worried, as you can see now. A series of stinging left, a hard right. And the referee calling for the bell. The referee calling for the bell. Both men outside the ring past the count of 10. And the referee, and again, they're unable to separate these two. Still unable to separate them. We finally have them separated, and there is both men counted outside the ring. Both men have been counted outside the ring, and the match, well, no decision. And they're going to have to try and break this up again. They're going to have to break it up again. Ole Anderson and Tony Atlas, and now wrestlers coming from everywhere, trying to break up the situation, trying to pull them apart. Anderson back into that ring finally, and everybody, these two just don't want to stop. They absolutely do not want to stop.
And, of course, that battle did get out of hand, as you could see, and, of course, that resulted in the suspension of both Tony Atlas and Ole Anderson. However, it has now been decreed that Tony Atlas has been reinstated. He is the Georgia heavyweight champion, but Ole Anderson has been suspended indefinitely from wrestling on television. He is not suspended from appearing or making an interview, but he is suspended from wrestling here on television. And right now, we'll be back with Tony in just a moment, but right now, here's an important word for all of you. Suspended from wrestling on in competition television. However, he is not suspended from pre-recorded or pre-recorded interviews. We have one right now that I think you should listen to.
It's amazing, you know, Tony Atlas, when he gets in there and starts scuffling around, everything is great as long as he's looking good. But as soon as he doesn't look too good, then everybody has to run in and try to help him to preserve his image. His image as a Mr. USA, as a Mr. Strongman, the man that could bench press 500 pounds, as an undefeated wrestler, as a man who is the #1 contender for the world's heavyweight title. Well, I told Tony Atlas and I told everybody else within hearing that there's no way that Tony Atlas is ever going to get the world championship belt. And if I can do anything about it, he's not even going to get a chance at the world champion again. But right away, something's got to happen. He's got to have help from Dusty Rhodes, or he's got to have help from the people. Now they're going to bar us from the studio. Well, they're not barring us. They're only going to bar me because they're afraid that I'll beat Tony Atlas right here in front of everybody. Well, they better be afraid. Everybody better be afraid, because on the 16th, nobody's going to stop me from coming to the Omni,
nobody is going to stop Harley Race. Every time Race gets into a match, he's got to worry about his belt, except this time. This time, he doesn't have to worry about anything. He's got nothing to lose. No belt is on the line. All he has to do is be just like me, Ole Anderson. Just be tough and rugged and beat Atlas and Rhodes.
Well, this coming Friday night, we're going to find out. You and Dusty as tag team partners against Harley Race and this man, Ole Anderson.
Well, you know, Ole Anderson got out here and he said that ain't nobody going to stop him from coming to the Omni. Well, you let me tell you something, Ole Anderson. I wouldn't stop you from coming to Atlanta, Georgia. I wouldn't stop you from coming to Georgia. I wouldn't stop you from coming to the Omni because I want you there, because I can't beat you if you up in Minnesota or somewhere. If you think that you and Harley Race could beat me at Dusty Road, bring yourself on. Now, you might get some people to believe that I tough here, but you got to prove it to me in the Omni, brother.
Time limit. Introducing now in the ring from Roanoke, Virginia, weighing in at 250 pounds, the Georgia heavyweight champion, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. His opponent entering the ring, the Russian Assassin.
And so the Russian Assassin and Tony Atlas going up against each other in this match. One fall with a 10-minute time limit. And Les Thornton, of course, the World Junior Heavyweight Champion, still with me.
No, this should be a real brawl because, you know, I've worked out with Tony Atlas, and he really is by far the strongest man I've ever come across. I was on the bench press, doing some bench press with him. I'm pretty strong, but this man did 550 with no trouble when I was with him. So that goes a lot to say, you know, and with his wrestling ability, he's going to be a very formidable opponent. But there again, we got the Mad Russian, who I think by far is one of the best ones around today. That's a look, sorry. Tony Atlas did a lovely takedown then, went behind the Russian, but the Russian is coming out the proper way, you know.
They're into that ring robe now, and the referee will be forcing the break on this, and so...
I think Tony's got to keep up this Russian, otherwise this man can turn everything round, and he can beat you at any given time.
Into an inside cradle by Tony Atlas, but the Russian is able to move him out and escape from possible pinning combinations. It's interesting to note, Les, that this was a very special challenge. This man, who is unidentified, notified Georgia Championship Wrestling that he specifically wanted a match with Tony Atlas.
Well, all I got to say that this man must obviously know what he's doing, because nobody challenges Tony Atlas and gets away with it. He must think he can beat him. He's challenging him. He's going to go ahead and he's going to try and do it. And he's doing a good job of it right now.
Beautiful leapfrog into a flying drop kick by Tony Atlas into a full power slam, and it is a full slam rather, and it is Atlas back on him again, a front face lock now. Tony Atlas.
I think he's going to make a big mistake if he tries to outpower Tony, because there's nobody in the wrestling game today can do that. He's going to have to start doing something a little bit different than he's doing, otherwise Tony's going to outpower him and out-wrestle him.
Going for a single leg pickup at this point. Atlas keeping that head imprisoned, and of course it is the Russian now trying to get that leg picked up. If he can get a back leg trip out of this as well.
Really should stand up with him. He's got a man with a hand like that. He can't reach to kick his far leg away. If I was in that ring now, I'd counter, I'd stand up and bring him up with me. But as I said, Tony stepped back into the ring and he saw what was happening, and he's built the hold.
They're into those ring ropes now. The referee again calling for the break. Tony now has that one leg trapped in between the ring ropes, and the Russian very quickly driving the knee into those quadriceps femoris muscles of Tony Atlas, trying to take away 1 point of attack, 1 point of stability.
Obviously, the man knows what he's got to do. He wasn't overpowering him, and he wasn't beating him with wrestling. So he's got to go back to the old roughhouse tactics, which obviously he must be quite good at.
Atlas still into those ropes, and the Russian still pressing his advantage. And
I don't know who this Russian is, but this Russian assassin, but he knows what he's doing, and he's a very mean man. I'd love to know who he is.
well, I would too, as a matter of fact, because it was rather unusual that the man specified that he would not wrestle anybody else other than Tony Atlas. And now, looks like he's trying to set for a figure four. Yes, couldn't get it. Now he's...
Well, you see, he couldn't beat Tony with his wrestling, and he couldn't beat him with his strength. So he pounded him down with the old usual roughhouse tactics, then went for a leg hold. So he's thought about his how he's going to do this thing, and he's going ahead and doing it.
Well, he's got the figure four. He does not have it clamped in, however. He does not have it cinched down. And
Tony's got too much power to give up in any case. And he's too strong. I think he'll either outpower him or pull himself to the ropes, which I would to get out of these circumstances.
Well, they didn't get that figure four locked in properly, and of course that's given Tony Atlas, because once that figure four is locked in, as you well know, once it's locked in, it's over.
Usually when a man gets a figure four, it's a finish. We call it a finish in the game, as you know. And then when it goes for it, I just said, like, it's a submission.
And it is Atlas rolling away from it. Finally, the hold is broken. The Russian did not have it firmly cinched in. Consequently, Atlas was able to break free. However, how much damage has been done to Tony Atlas now?
Well, this Russian knows what he's doing. He's a good wrestler. He's going after them legs, even though he's a lead of what he's doing. This is his tactics that he has to beat Tony Atlas with, and he's going to do it.
The Russian outside the ring now. Additional punishment on those femoris muscles of Tony Atlas, and Atlas in trouble here.
Well, if he's not careful, he's going to get counted outside the ring, this man. In any case, like, he could have been disqualified for those kind of tactics, what he did.
Well, it appears to me that he is not as interested now at this point in a pinfall as he is in trying to incur some injury to
He's got
Tony.
one thing on his mind, that's to beat Tony Atlas. That's what he did. He challenged him, he came here, he said he's going to beat him, and he didn't care how he's going to do it. He's going to go ahead and try and beat him. But right now, Tony's making he's got his senses together, making a big comeback, and Tony can throw mean punches, you can see.
And it is Atlas. Atlas after the mask. Atlas after the mask of this Russian. And
He's got to be careful here. He's going to get himself disqualified if he's not careful. You can't throw that referee around that ring.
And it is Atlas now unleashing all stops. The Russian still after that leg, and Tony Atlas unleashing everything he's got against the Russian.
Well, no, it's just pushing into a mud brawl. No one cares. Not even the referee's got anything to do with it now. Tony's just going berserk. This Russian he's after the mask, so, you know, it's just a charade now.
It is Tony Atlas now trying desperately to get that mask off. Obviously, at this point in time, he wants to know the identity of this man who has obviously been trying to deliberately injure him. He's got that man. It's Smirnoff.
Yeah, would you believe it? That surprised me. That's pretty Smirnoff, and I never would have believed it.
Alexis Smirnoff, and that mask has been removed. And that is most unusual indeed. But Smirnoff is the man who's come in after Tony Atlas and specifically said that he would wrestle nobody else but Tony Atlas, but he called himself the Russian Assassin. And now, a Pier 6 slugfest going on. It is all over, and they're going to have to separate them once again. They're going to have to separate them here. And it was obvious here that Smirnoff had more in mind than just trying to win a match. It was obvious here that he had something else in mind, and that was to injure or re-injure if he could.
For one reason, as you say. This Smirnoff only came here for one reason. That's the main Tony. And for me, someone's put him up to do that.
Well, that's an interesting observation. Let me see if I can't get Tony Atlas and talk to him for just a moment. Well, you could hear the comments, "We're going to get you. We're going to get you." You can hear him continuing to say, "We're going to get you." So obviously, this man Smirnoff is part of some form of conspiracy or another.
What kind of mess is this? Now here, last week on Anderson come out here. Somebody ain't got no business. I ain't got no business. You ain't gonna do nothing. You had your chance, and you can get another chance. You, Ole Anderson, Harley Race, all y'all get a chance. You thought you gonna do something to me? Let him go.
Okay, now, sir, no, Tony, please, let's not have any more. Don't risk a suspension, Tony. We'll be back. As soon as we get order restored, we'll be right back. We'll be back in just a moment.
Good to see you again, Red.
It was interesting to note that Mr. Smirnoff turned out to be this Russian assassin. It appears to me that there's something afoot here to keep Tony Atlas away from his ultimate goal of becoming the first world heavyweight champion.
Well, as everyone knows, Tony Atlas has high hopes as to becoming the next world heavyweight champion. And, of course, I'm behind him 100%. By the same token, I know